Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Ethnikids live session. I'm so excited to be having a discussion with Siya Masuku tonight. Today, we're not having our regular Meet the Author session. We're having a discussion around African animation. And what we're going to be discussing is whether animation is the next frontier in the representation revolution. And we're excited to be hosting Siya Masuku, who's an illustrator, he's an author, he's a publisher, and also now an animator. So we'll be talking about his projects and also just getting his thoughts around storytelling, around publishing, around writing, and of course, animation. Hi, hello, welcome everybody. So really excited, and please, if you have any questions, do take part, do ask Siya anything that you'd like to know. And yeah, we're really looking forward to the discussion. We're just going to wait for him to join us, and then we're going to kick things off. Oh, there he is. Let's just invite him. Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to wave physically. Hi, Siya.
Hi, Khumo. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Firstly, I like the black you're wearing. Good choice.
Oh, I like yours. But I get color yamanyora, so I guess
Yeah,
that's what we are.
yeah. And thanks for having me, man. It's so good to be on your platform. You guys are doing so much good stuff, man. So to be able to chat to you and to chat to your followers, it's really cool. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for coming. We equally admire your work, and you can see your books behind you. Let me just introduce everybody to the audience. Those of you that might not be familiar with Siya, I've actually written it out because there's so much that you've done. But Siya is a Sowetan-born publisher who ran a successful crowdfunding campaign in July, August of 2016 to launch his own publishing company, Siyafunda Online. And he's got multiple titles under his belt. I believe at Ethnikids we stock all of them. The first one being Siyafunda isiZulu, which is an alphabet book, which has colorful images that were made with lino printed animals. And then he's also collaborated with Book Dash to make two books, uDaisy Omangalisayo and Izicha. I know the cookie jar must fall.
Yeah,
Sizulu Saka, yeah, you can hear it.
it's just
I'm
some
at level one.
No, it's cool. It's
And
just
then
some Masio. That's the title. Yeah.
yes, and then recently he collaborated with Fuku Children's Foundation to illustrate and design the Setswana-based book, Setswana book Musidi, which was written by Lorato Trok. And he's also a recipient of the David Kolwane Arts Writing Award in 2017. And his most recent work include the titles Unjabulo, Ulanga, Mkatini, and KwaNhliziyo-Ngise, which has been now turned into an animated comic. And we'll be chatting a bit about the launch. But Siya, what I'd really like to know is what made you fall in love with storytelling?
Yeah, good question. When I was a kid, very lucky, my sister and I at the time, staying with my mom, my grandmother, and my mom, being a teacher, she's been a teacher ever since I was born, at the same school till today. She's a headmaster there now. And
Okay.
she would bring us books and stationery. So at school, I always had the best stationery, you know. But in terms of the book side, she would bring us a lot of books. And because when we come back from school, we'd hang out with grandma, Ugoko, and Ugoko would literally, I want to watch Top Cat, you know, I want to have Rice Krispies and throw a whole lot of sugar in them and watch Top Cat. But Ugoko was like, no, you're going to watch, I'm going to read a book, you know. And that, I think, really, it's really how she read books. And this is the storytelling aspect, where the storytelling has nothing to do or is not specific to, say, writing or illustrating or poetry or anything or music. Storytelling is literally a manner in which you translate a story, and it translates through. In fact, if it's a good story, it should be able to translate to various mediums, all mediums if possible. So Ugogo, she would read so many stories for us, man. And I remember my favorite story she read was Ujafta, simply because Ujafta in the wedding, man. That was the first story where I saw people who look like us, you know, abantu abamnyama, batho babantu. Am I saying it right?
You are.
Yes. And for me, that struck me, you know, but the way she was saying it, the way she was pronouncing stuff, the way she was exaggerating stuff. So I figured that my grandmother really was the storyteller at home. And I think secretly she sort of transferred that to me.
That's beautiful. And I think looking at your career, you somewhat of what we call a triple threat, now about to be a quadruple threat, in that you do everything yourself. You publish, you write, you illustrate, and now you animate. What made you decide to go on the self-publishing journey as opposed to working with a mainstream or traditional publisher?
Okay. Well, I should clarify that, because I gotta give credit where it's due. I work with a team, man. I really work with the hardest team, man. You know, I write, I illustrate, okay? And both those tasks, those disciplines for me, are actually very challenging. And I'm grateful to be able to at least be in their space, you know, to be able to actually write something and illustrate. But we've got a top-notch editor, you know, and Umampumi, and she is an isiZulu tutor. If you're looking to learn isiZulu, please get in touch, and I'll put you in touch with Mampumi. She's totally Mampumi. I call her Mampumi, Mpumi Njobe. But she's taught me a lot in terms of the language, you know. Growing up, we went to Model C schools, you know, most of us did. And even those who didn't, you grow up and you learn so much in English, right? Isbalo, maths, you're doing it in English, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, alphabets, UQ instead of UK, you know what I mean? And there's a difference, you know, and now I'm speaking from isiZulu perspective, you know. So I wouldn't necessarily say that I do everything. So that's just from writing and illustrating. And then there's the publishing aspect where, sure, we can publish things like in terms of paper, in terms of paperback. Let me show you quickly. So paperback, Nwadi, a book, or we can publish it digitally. Like right now we're doing. We are available online, the Siyafunda Online. You can find us right now on. We have shops on Instagram, as you would know, with Ethnikids and stuff like that. And these are things that I cannot really do. And we've got our developer who makes sure that things like that are sorted out. Then we've got the aspect where, okay, cool, the stuff needs to be animated. Okay. Now I work with a really cool team. Idipopai Studios for one, and in Visionary in Action Films. I think they call themselves Via Films. Let's start with the Popeye Studios. Uste, founder of the Popeye Studios, is also the animator there, right? And he's been putting a lot of work behind the motion comic that we're working on, and hopefully maybe later we'll be discussing that. And the motion comic for me, it's like, look, here's a book that I've made. Yes. Here are the illustrations and the wording that's part of the book. I need you as an animator to take this stuff and make it move and bring it to life. So I go to someone like Ste for that. And Ste comes to me and says, no, we can do that simply. You just provide me these certain things and I'll sort that out. And then once that's sorted out, I go to the people who are doing voiceovers and stuff, and I'm like, yo, so we need to have voiceovers for characters, you know. So you understand, it's intricate.
It's a collaborative effort.
Yeah, it'll be crazy for me to say, look, quadruple threat or whatever. I mean,
You are, though. I mean, it's very rare to find authors that illustrate their own work or illustrators that write their own work. So,
yeah.
I mean, you do have to acknowledge that you've got a very wide skill set, which is a great thing. And that's why we actually wanted to pose that question to you about, do you think animation is the next frontier in the representation revolution? Because if you look at it, this week we heard news that the Obamas, together with the team that founded Dr. McStuffins, have turned a book called Ada Twist the Scientist into an animated series. And then, of course, there's a Hair Love that won an Oscar that's also been converted into a book. And even locally, we're coming across a lot of books that are currently being made into animated series. So do you think that's where we're headed now? Because it seems it's no longer like whispers, it's something that's actually being done.
Okay, before I answer your question, you mentioned Ada Twist. What is it?
Yes, Ada Twist the Scientist.
Ada.
So it's a book series in the US. And then the team that makes, Dr. McStuffins, the little doctor, the vet.
No, come on. I don't know as much as you do, yeah.
Okay, well, when you have little ones, this is the stuff you'll see on TV all the time.
Okay.
So they're now converting that book together with the Obamas, which is really exciting, into an animated series that's going to fly it on Netflix.
That's pretty cool.
So those are all the things that we're looking forward to. But it seems to be that the conversation we were having around representation in literature is moving into representation in animation.
Yeah, it's absolutely necessary. I mean, you think about it, when you look at a kid, the first thing they want to do is look at a screen, right? Kids are digital, man. Kids are so advanced, and we need to catch up. We're actually holding back. How we see the government treating the arts, literature, and all this sort of stuff is probably how kids see us, right? The government is really slow. They don't really get that we need to be moving forward. We need to stop using the same things we were using when you and I were in school, whenever that was, okay? Yeah, let's not give away too much.
Let's not.
But it's necessary for us to move forward. I think I'm losing my train of thought here. There was something I wanted to bring up, but maybe it'll come back. So we need to be moving into digital. We need to be taking stories and not just digital. I truly believe, I've always believed that a single story needs to translate to more than one medium. Yeah. It needs to be, sure, I think we need to focus on the medium that we wanna be focused on, whatever it is. I mean, I prefer print. I prefer print because you can give print away. You can bookmark it. You smell print. It's nice. You can collect it.
Very tangible.
Yeah, very sentimental print. And because you pay for it, there's a lot of money that goes around print, from printing to distribution to buying the print. It makes it so much more special. Whereas with digital, it probably doesn't have the same, what can we say, same essence as print, in my opinion, right? So we need to take stories, and one story, and it needs to translate into multiple mediums. And this is why, I got to a point where I was just publishing book after book, and I figured, it was like, yeah, but what is the use if these books are all in print? And for one, let's say majority of people can't afford to buy print books, okay? But the majority of people can afford to go to the internet cafe, or they can't go to Mama. Yes, this is the point I was missing. The kids are going onto screens. So a majority of people can afford to go to Mama or Papa or Rugogo and stuff and say, I don't like the little tablet. Please switch on the tablet for me. And then I want to watch YouTube, right? And we'll get more people.
We've got comments in the audience, people saying, we're tired of Coco Melon. That's one comment that we got.
We're tired of?
Tinky. Coco Melon, the stuff that plays on YouTube, now that you bring up YouTube.
Okay.
But another important thing is print is not dependent on power, which is something that we don't always have in South Africa. So that's also an interesting viewpoint.
Yes, yes, I'll get back to that. I'm just saying Coco. Yeah, I think it's cute. Look, I mean, yeah, like uh, that's the thing. Print doesn't need load shedding or anything. You know, it doesn't depend on all those aspects. And print. I mean, there was a time where Kindle came through, and people were like, "Ah, print is going. Print will never leave. Print will.
Yeah.
Print is staple. You know what I mean? In fact, there'll come
Mm-hmm.
a point, maybe long after our time, where it's no longer digital. There's something else. You know what I mean? But I believe
Mm-hmm.
print will be there. You know, because it has a very historical value to people from the press. And when I say the press, the Gutenberg press, and how the Bible came to being in the physical form. But I think the point I'm making is that we need to take one story and put it on various
Multiple
platforms.
mediums.
Yeah, because we need to be cognizant of where the kids want to be. And the
Yeah.
kids want to be on the screen right now as things stand. And we need to sort of, we need to oblige, you
We
know.
need
We
to
need,
meet them where they're at.
that's correct. I agree.
Yeah.
And we need to not be so, oh, here's a book, read it. It's very overwhelming for a kid. But we say to a kid, oh, we look at the kid, we watch her. We check what she really loves to do. If she likes to do
Mm-hmm.
storytelling using toys, puppeteering might be her thing. You know what I mean? Let's introduce
Yeah.
puppeteering into the same story. That is
So
actually
there's
great.
space for all those to coexist alongside each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I suppose
Ngateko
I could
here
go
just got
on.
a comment
Okay.
that this is great as kids are exposed to animation as a subject or at least as a possible career. If not, at what age do you think they should be exposed to animation
Oh, as
as a
soon as
potential
possible.
career?
Or is a program, as something that should go into, well, in terms of animation, as something that should be exposed to, period, as soon as possible. There's a thing about stories for children that it makes them more special than, say, when we are grown up and we know that we need to be reading, we need to be doing that. Most of the time when we are grown ups, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to open a self-help book or whatever, you know. Kids are not into that self-help stuff. Kids are not trying to change their minds about things, and kids just want fun. Okay, kids just want to have fun, and our it's actually a good thing for us as the creators of content, and even, like, say, Ethnikids, the distributors of content, to provide the fun. It's easier to provide fun than to provide not fun. You know what I mean? Well, maybe it's not easier, but it's more fun to provide fun. You know what I mean? So let's do fun things. Let's. It brings out the kid.
Stimulate the imagination and
Yeah,
yeah,
it brings
get
up
them
the
excited.
kid in us. Yeah. And
Mm.
it also makes us realize that, hey, man, we spend too much time as adults being adults, and being an adult is a lot of work, man. It's so much work, you know. So we need to make fun things for kids and put them in the platforms that they want. And then we
Okay.
say the story that you see on YouTube is no longer Coco Melon or Ada Twist the Scientist, but it's your favorite story, whatever it is. You know what I mean? And you can
And
also
in
get
your
it in
home
a book
language, which is also
in
quite
your own
important.
language. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I
And
know you, Sia, as an artist, have always been very pro isiZulu, and all of your material is written in Zulu. When you move now into animated material, will it still be the same? And why do you think it's so important to expose our children to our mother tongues?
yeah, I mean, I'm actually Swati. My dad is Swati, but I grew
Oh,
up,
really?
yeah, but I grew up with my dad and my gran, and so I identify with isiZulu culture. You know, I know like little about isiSwati. I'm not even gonna front, you know, and I want to learn isiSwati. I want to learn isiSwati. I really do, but because I grew up sort of in this isiZulu environment, being raised by my mom and gran who are Zulu, um, this is a language that I'm very comfortable in, that I can identify with, that I can trace back in terms of roots, right? And for that reason, I believe that if you are a vendor, write in Chivenda, you know, and see where it takes you. In fact, maybe not see where it takes you, see where you can take it, you know. I think that's more important. And it's an element of being of service. So if we are of service to our own cultures and our own backgrounds, our own languages, then the kids will never have to worry about, oh, I have to read isiZulu or I have to read Setswana, you know. The kids will embrace that, you know, because us, the parents, the guardians, the teachers
have shared our languages with them.
Yeah, and they can see that we really mean it. You know what I mean? I'm a staunch believer that you want your kids to learn your home language, you gotta be either speaking to them in their own language or showing them information or content that is in their own language. And I'm not saying let's bash English and other languages. All those languages are important. These are good tools. We are using English right now so that everyone understands. You know, we're not bashing any language, but we are saying use English, but be cognizant ukuthi uMotswana, ungumZulu, uMopedi. Okay, hopefully I'm not calling these other tribes wrong, but you are who you are and embrace it.
It's part
It's
of identity
beautiful,
and heritage.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, we had Palesa ask us earlier if you could tell us a little bit more about the Musidi story.
Musidi is a nice story. You know, like, okay, I will give a bit of background at how it all panned out. So Puku says, look, we are doing this heritage event. We are in 2020, so this was 2019 in February. So they're saying we are doing this event, and we want to have indigenous languages. We want to have as many books as possible in indigenous languages. And when they approached me, they had a language called Nama from Namibia. Okay. It's an indigenous language. They had a language called Ngu from it's a language of the Sand people. Okay. And very interesting dynamic there happening in that language, which I can explain just now. But so it's Nama and Ngu, and then two Setswana languages, and Nama, Ngu, Setswana, and Afrikaans. Okay. And my first thing was like, and I mean, like, this is no offense to Afrikaans speakers, you know. My first thing was like, why do we need to write books in Afrikaans? You know, we're all black people, you know. But I also actually got a wake-up call because there are black people who speak Afrikaans. You know what I mean? And it actually made me shift my perspective as to the whole dynamics in language in the country, you know. I started doing more research, and I realized that there are at least 35 indigenous languages in South Africa. We only identify 9 indigenous languages as Zigrand. These are the ones, you know, and which is not cool. But
different dialects as well.
Of course. I mean, each language has that. I mean, mina ngingumZulu waseKasi, waseSoweto, you know. And then I speak to umZulu waseThekwini, and it's like totally different plateaus, you know what I mean? So there's those dialects, and even within Gauteng, there's a Zulu here, there's a Zulu here, there's a Tswana here, there's a Tswana here, there's a Venda Swati here, etc. So the point is, when we started talking more and more, my involvement there was really to help as a facilitator, right? Lorato Trock, she's one of my favorite.
Amazing.
One of my favorite.
One of the best Setswana writers and translators in the country.
Absolutely.
Really amazing.
Absolutely. Google Lorato Trock, and I think it'll speak for itself. She says to me, okay, cool. So I've written the story she had written 2 stories which haven't been published or anything. So like, these are the 2 stories. But then when I read Musidi, man, I was like, this is beautiful, simple. I couldn't understand most of the stuff, you know, so I had to go back to her, and she was explaining. And I learned so much about Setswana, you know. But when she said that, it's like, do you want to illustrate this? I was like, are you kidding? Like, right? So, and that's when I got into it. we did two books. Two books in Setswana, one Afrikaans, Nama and Mu. And time went, man. Time went, and I was knocking on the Puku doors, and I was like, okay, so when are these books coming out? I mean, we did them, and Puku had a lot of things that had to sort out at the time, you know. And I was like, bless you. I was like, okay, Puku, can I just publish Musidi? You know, because I think Musidi needs to come out. I'll publish it under Siyafunda, and yeah, that'll be it. And they were like, yeah, do it, you know. So we did it. We published Musidi, and Musidi was a beautiful story about mother and child. Okay, it's a very it's a story really concentrating on the women and the girls and how they relate to each other, how mother relates to a daughter and how daughter relates to a child. It's a beautiful story about love. It's a beautiful story about how the daughter is able to be in her own space, environment, and just be herself. And while mother can do the same, but they also have things that they share that are in common, right? But this is
beautiful.
Yeah, this is how I see the story. I think Lorato would tell you so much about the story. So I think
I'll actually, we'll have a meet session with her.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, speak to Lorato.
And we've got the book available for sale as well on www.ethnikids.co.za. So check it out.
It's a beautiful book. It's good quality. You get the book, you will not regret. Go to Ethnikids and get your book.
And then, Sia, what would you say your first love? Would you say that you are an illustrator first and then an author, or an author first and an illustrator? Or for you, is it the same passion across both disciplines?
How I understand it is that when you're an author, and I understood this because really I collect graphic novels, right? Graphic novels is my thing. And you get an author, so to speak, who is just an illustrator. There will be no words. It's just pictures, the whole 300 pages. And the pictures, they just say so much, you know, like you're watching each picture and it's very, like, I'm not lachrymose in a sense. Lachrymose that, like, I don't easily cry when I watch something. But there are pictures you look at, or like, you know, you watch a movie
and they move you.
Yeah, and the tears, man, they just come down. You're like, I don't know why the tears are just coming. You know what I mean? So, from an author point of view, an author is either you're a writer or you're an illustrator or you're both, right? Where if the question is, am I a writer mostly or an illustrator mostly? I think like there's like no question to it. I'm a much better illustrator than I am a writer. Okay.
So you prefer to communicate in images and then attach words to them?
Not necessarily. I really do prefer to write. I mean, I'm working on my writing, man. I want to be a really dope writer eventually, and I'll get there. It takes time, but my strength is in illustrations because I studied graphic design. I grew up drawing all my life. I mean, drawing every time I got a chance, you know. I started my career as a graphic artist and all those sort of things. But I truly believe, just like singers, a singer can write their song and go and perform it. And even on the performance, it's multiple levels. They get on stage, they can just sing on the mic, or they can hold the guitar and sing. Wow. Like, you think about the complexity. Like,
it's a creative talent.
Yeah, like first you're telling the story, which you had to write, and then you got on the stage, you have to face a crowd, and you have to actually vocalize this. That's like the second aspect. And then the third aspect, you actually have to coordinate your instrument or your drum or whatever. Man, so if I look at it that way, that guy or that woman or whoever that is an author. Okay, they've authored a story, right? So in my respect, I'm a writer and an illustrator. It's two very different disciplines, but I believe that and I'm saying this to anyone out there who's listening, if you're able to create your own stories and then also find a way to bring them to the people in your own way, in your own unique way, do it, man, because we need those, right? And as much as we do need collaboration, we need a writer to link up with an illustrator, and we need the editor, and we need the desktop publisher or the designer. Yeah, there are parts where we need that, but I also believe that there are parts where we need someone who's gonna literally write their story, illustrate their story, and see how. So that's what I do. But yeah, my strength is mostly in illustrating, and hopefully one day I'll get to a point where they both worked well together.
Okay. And can you tell us more about your graphic novel, or your animated? Well, how do you describe it? What you've done with your latest project? It's an animated comic.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try and show you this. I'll just open a page.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that. So that's
yes.
So Ola is literally in space.
I see you.
Yeah, like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So she's in space. In fact, she's in a different universe. Literally in alternate. She just went through a black hole. Okay. Now, this is the interesting part. When I write these things, Nizbala Zulu, and I have to think about yini emkhathini. Well, what is
space?
Space in Zulu? You know what I mean? And I have to figure these things out. Okay, what is universe in Zulu? You know, what is a tardigrade in Zulu? And all those things. Okay, and these are the things we learn, mind you, in school and stuff like that. We just get taught that's Jupiter, that's a tardigrade, that's Sirius, a star, that's a pulsar, whatever it is. And then you get to be in this space and you realize, man, I just know them as they are, you know. And then you ask your parents, what is a pulsar? And like, no, you watch. It's like, no, I get that. Like, what is a pulsar, you know? And then you try and explain a pulsar, you know, in space, there's a star and then it shoots up, you know? And then you explain to your parents, they're like, dude, like, relax. Now you have to go figure it out. So the writing process, it challenges one to say, okay, how do I figure out what's a pulsar in Chivenda or Chitonga? And when you get that, how do I construct it all in a story? You know what I mean? Now that it's done, how do I put it out there in my own in the way that I see it? So there's a lot of images which speak to a space adventure and all that sort of stuff, and it's in panels because it's a graphic novel. What a panel is, to those who don't know, so if you see that there's this panel, and then there's the next panel.
The 4 columns.
Yeah, there's the next panel, and panels can be different sizes, different. That's so different sizes. So yeah, there's 2 panels, as you can see, right? So a panel really is basically each box tells its own story, and then it leads you to the next box, which continues the next story. But I have this in still images, and I mean, I was like, okay, cool. We wanted to make it a motion comic. What is a motion comic? It's taking a comic book as it is and making it move. Okay.
So making panels run.
Yes, you get it. So we are not reinventing anything. We are not trying to redraw stuff. We are saying, here's what we have now. How do we make it move? And it's cool because the movements are so subtle. You know what I mean? And we need to take the stars as they are in the background, or the grain of sand, and we need to make it shimmer. You know, now we need to separate each and everything within just one panel. We need to separate each and everything layer by layer so we can actually manipulate. So it's quite a process, but when it comes out, man, it comes out like nothing other. It's unlike 3D animation or it's 2D, but it's literally, as you see the book in front of you, the comic book, it comes out as a motion comic, and that's what we're doing. Yeah, so that's what we've been working on, and yeah, it's something that will be showing on Saturday as a short film.
No, is this Saturday or is that on the 31st of October? When can we see it?
Okay, so this Saturday we're doing the first private screening. The first private screening, it's really just us just putting the work out there and trying to gauge how it really works. You know, how the crowd responds to it and all this sort of stuff. You guys are invited, obviously, but then the main event is on 31st of October, which is at the Bioscope, and obviously that will be announced properly on social media platforms, etc. And that'll be cool. It's 50 Rand a ticket. Now the Bioscope has 47 seats, so we are limiting, because of obviously the time we're living in, limiting it to 30 people per show
for social distancing.
Absolutely. Now, if you're a family, you come as a family, then you guys know each other. I suppose it won't be such a schlep. But if you meet someone you don't know, you want to have some space between you and them, right? So we're going to have 30 people per session. There's going to be two sessions. The first session is at 10:30, and then the second session is at the first session is at 10. The second session is at 10:30. So if you go to Siyafunda Online you'll find where the tickets are. You can book your ticket. Yeah, you don't want to miss it. It's going to be dope. It really will be dope. Cool.
No, that's really exciting. And it's also beautiful to see how you've progressed with the story. Because Ulanga was in Unjabulo and Mkhatini was space, and that came out together Unjabulo, and now you've progressed all the way into an animated comic, which is really beautiful. Is there another step that we can expect? Is there more from that series that you're working on?
To be honest, I don't know, man. Like, when I started Unjabulo and Mkhatini, in fact, it was just Unjabulo, and there was that element like, okay, what is this boy curious about? Why is he gazing in the sky? Why is he sleeping on the ground? If you can see on right there, there's a kid sleeping on the grass.
So, I see it in the yellow T-shirt.
In the yellow T-shirt, you guys have that book, Unjabulo. It was just that, and I had this kid who's lying on the ground and he's staring at the sky, and I was like, but why is he staring at the sky? And then Mkhatini came about, and then there's a character Ulanga who was just really gnawing at me, like, hey dude, like, I want my own story, like, put Unjabulo aside. And Ulanga came about, but then there was more to Ulanga right after it was done, and KwaNhliziyo-Ngise came about. Now that KwaNhliziyo-Ngise is done, there's more coming from that. So it's
her heart's desires.
Sorry?
It's Ulanga's heart's desires. That's what the book is about, right?
Yeah, basically where the heart leads. Where the heart leads.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how I found this series is going, man. After KwaNhliziyo-Ngise, I thought that was it. I was letting it go and moving on to something different. But, we have the motion comic. But over and above that, there's something that extends not only from the motion comic point of view, but also from the graphic novel, the storytelling point of view. And there's characters in the book who want their own say, And me, like, the way I see it, I'm just a vessel, I'm telling the stories on behalf of the characters. You know what I mean? I could say I'm making up stuff, but am I really? So yeah, we'll see what else comes. If the series wants to continue, it'll continue. If it stops, then it stops. Yeah.
No, that's beautiful, and massive congrats to you, Sia. And we'll definitely be there this Saturday. Can't wait to see. And I encourage everybody to go out and purchase your ticket for the 31st of October. It's Halloween as well on the 31st of October. So that could be a fun family activity, and to just support the work. We really look forward to seeing it.
Absolutely, Khumo. There's a very cool surprise closer to the time, the theme being Halloween and stuff. So look, please don't just come there as grown-ups. Bring the kids, man. This is for the kids, you know what I mean? We want to inspire the kids here to be so much more. But I mean, there's a cool surprise on the 31st of October, so you really want to get yourself there. You want to get your kids there. You want to get your tickets there. Book your seats.
I might want to attend on 2 days.
Sorry?
I'm saying then I might want to attend on 2 days. Come on the 10th and come again on the 31st.
I think you must do that. I think you must do that. Yeah, I'll definitely attend both days. No, it's actually one day. Sorry, it's one day, 2 sessions.
1 day. Okay.
Yeah, all within 1 hour. Okay, so you attend the first 30 minutes, and then there's the next 30 minutes. So yeah.
No, really looking forward to it, and thank you for your time and sharing your thoughts with us, and also thank you for your work. We have all of Siya's books on our website, so please do have a look. He's a very talented artist, very talented author, and it's been so great working with you, Siya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Khumo. I appreciate your time and your followers. Love you guys, and hopefully see you soon, man.
Yes, and thank you to everyone who joined us tonight, and let's keep the conversation going. Thank you, Siya.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.